I have wanted to become a singer since I was 5 years old. I am 28 now, and I actually am a singer. How did I get here? I am a pretty average, regular person, and I am not a superstar or anything yet. We're not gonna jinx it. So, I am a singer now. How did I get here? It started out when I was 5 years old. These are my earliest memories of singing along to music, and one of the ones that I can remember is singing along to Billy Idol. My mom raised me listening to a lot of top 40 and 80s rock music, and Billy Idol was always one of my favorites. And this is a story that she used to tell me, and I partially remember it too, because apparently I wanted to listen to nothing but Billy Idol for a long time. And whenever we were in the car, she put one of her Billy Idol CDs in the radio, or like CD thing, I don't know what they're called. And she would play Billy Idol, and we would sing to Billy Idol. And that's how it all started. I was singing from then onwards and possibly even earlier. And this is the earliest memory I have of wanting to be a singer. Of course, back then it was still a different kind of thought. It wasn't like I would stand on stage, I want to write my own songs, I want to produce my music or co-produce my music, I want to do tours, I want to do this and that, collaborations and stuff. It was still a kid's dream. How to get from that to an adult's dream still, well over 20 years later, I'll tell you that. What it continued with is then when I got a little bit older, I was like 9 or 10 when I started guitar lessons. We only learned chords in those lessons, so really only beginner guitar. And we learned to accompany ourselves while we sang. So that was definitely a step in the right direction. At that time, when I was 10 and I was in junior high school, for I don't remember if 1 or 2 school years, I was part of the school choir. So essentially, I was taking a pretty stereotypical route, I guess, for people who like singing and who want to be singers. I partook where I could, and I sang where I could. I was very shy and awkward, and I didn't necessarily always feel like that dream of mine was being taken seriously. We're not necessarily just speaking teachers or anything like that here. I don't think they really knew back then. My family, they treated it like it's just a dream. She'll get over it. And understandably to some degree, because a lot of us, when we're kids or young teens, we have these kind of outlandish dreams still. Like, I want to be a pirate, I want to be a princess, I want to be an astronaut. This is less outlandish than pirate and princess, probably. And a lot of people honestly grow out of those dreams. I never did. What it continued with after that is I went to music high school. So I had a lot of music theory lessons. There was an instrument that we had to learn. I continued learning guitar, but a lot more in depth. I was part of a solo singing group for a year. Like, we all learned similar pieces, but we all were individual singers, not like a choir. At the point where I was in high school, I still wanted to be a singer. I didn't choose a music high school. There had been plenty of other options that I could have attended. Like, I had 4.0, so the best grade point average you can have. I could have chosen any school and I would have gotten in no problem. I chose this school, and I am glad I went there. This is one of the choices in my life I definitely don't regret. At that time, I still wanted to be a singer all throughout those 4 years at that school. When I was about 15, 16, I started contemplating, how do I go about this? How do I actually make this happen, though? This is the first time I feel like I really thought about a life after school and a life of actually being a singer, like genuinely a life of it, not just here and there a little bit of singing. And I contemplated actually going to a casting show. Casting shows were pretty popular back then. That was like the early mid-2010s. I graduated in 2015. The year I turned 18. I turned 18 in July, so I graduated before then. In the end, I decided against it because the casting shows in like Austria, Germany, I'm Austrian, and I live in Austria. they're not actually usually they're not usually actually a place that actually helps the singers. Like, yes, you will be famous, you will get your 5 minutes of fame tops. Like, after a certain time, not even that happened, to be completely honest. And you never heard of those winners again, aside from like the first 2 weeks after they've won, and then it's nothing. So I decided to not try that. I also don't think my family would have supported that. I grew more cautious with sharing my dream the older I got, because I would get the same responses again and again. That's not how you can make money. You cannot live off of being a singer, despite many people being able to live off of being a singer even without being famous. I know people who can live off of music, and they're very far from famous. This is the point, graduating and then going to university and starting a degree that I didn't really actually want to do. This is the point where I started pushing this dream down, really, really deep down, as far as it could go. Not good. Not good. And then when I was 19, I got into my first serious long-term relationship. I started pushing it down even further, honestly, the dream of being a singer. And it still just makes me so sad to think about that. That I felt, and sometimes was made to feel, like I had to hide this part of me that was the most raw and most honest part of me, because other people didn't want this for me. It made them uncomfortable. It made them worried about me, possibly to some degree. It was a good time in some respects and a really bad time in others. And during this relationship, it was a long distance relationship a lot of the time, except when we were visiting each other. And I remember one of the things, at some point, we'd already been in the relationship for at least a year at this point, maybe even 2. So I was over 20. I was like maybe 21. I remember us having a conversation over the phone, and we just, we were talking, and then we were doing like answer these questions. So kind of still getting to know each other better, even though we already knew each other really well. I remember one of the questions being, what would be the 5 lives you would lead if you weren't leading the life you're currently living? Like, what would you be? What would you do? I don't remember a lot of what I answered. I remember one of his answers was a history professor or like university lecturer. I don't remember which one it was. And one of mine was teaching ancient Roman history, because I find that fascinating. Also as a professor, like at a university. And I remember out of the 5 that I came up with, the last one, and the one I was kind of like, do I say this? Do I reveal this part of myself? Even though you already knew I had dreamed of being a singer when I was younger. I was like, eventually I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. And I said, be a singer. I didn't just say be a singer, but be a worldwide popular singer who does international concert tours, sells out stadiums, produces albums and stuff like that. Like, I did elaborate, and I got so excited about it. And I was like, oh, maybe this does actually still really matter to me. If I can talk with so much excitement about it, but I don't really know what else to do with my life. I was, I think, in the middle of finishing up my degree, my bachelor's degree at that time. If I can get so excited about this, why can I not get nearly as excited about anything else? Why am I not following this? And I think this is a slow process and a slow progress that took a lot of time for me to get to the conclusion, oh, I still want to be a singer and I have to give this a try. But this is maybe the starting moment of it. Year 2020 hit, the plague. Let's not say the other P word that YouTube doesn't really like. And of course, that was a horrible time. At the same time, for me, it was a good time, because I was finally starting to be honest with myself and being like, all the things that I've been doing are not what I really want to do with my future and who I really want to be. I want to be a singer. It was definitely a process because it started out with me returning to playing the guitar. I did really well in school playing guitar, where we had mandatory instrumental lessons, but then I stopped playing after graduating. And I'd always loved playing guitar and instruments, so I turned back to the guitar. And then eventually I would also start teaching myself the piano in the first year of the plague. So in 2020. And I enjoyed myself so much. I hadn't enjoyed myself this much in years. Nothing had fulfilled me like that. And then I was like, I've graduated. I have my bachelor's degree. The pandemic is going to last a little longer, probably. So what do I do now? So I started doing a master's degree, like a long distance master's degree in music. I actually have a finished master's degree in music. It definitely had its ups and downs. Like, I definitely learned a lot of interesting things through it. And I explored different music genres and eras that I possibly would not have explored without doing this degree. At the same time, I realized that I like academics to some degree, but this is not my future. Then the next important thing is that I met BTS. If you're not a fan of BTS, don't worry about it. But they have done something good for me in the sense that they made me believe that I have to, first and foremost, listen to what I want to do with my life, not what other people are trying to tell me and keep telling me, keep pushing me towards. To be content with my life, I have to unearth what I want to do with it. And as a 5-year-old, that was so clear to me. As a 12-year-old, that was so clear to me. When I was 16, that was so clear to me. It was always clear. So why didn't I just give it a try? Why not give it a try? At the same time, around the time that I met BTS, I also started doing The Artist's Way. And I know that people have very legitimate criticism for this book, but I also think that for me, especially the first time around, it helped me a lot. I started actually doing The Artist's Way wanting to do it as a writer because I'm also a writer, but that's totally other story. In the process of this, though, in the process of the 3 months that it takes, I unearthed the I need to be a singer so badly and so loudly. Like, it was part of every morning page. It was part of every exercise I did. And I was like, okay, maybe this is inevitable. Maybe this is my time to be a singer and to finally go for this. I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions now. Nobody can keep me from it. So I will do it. So I did. In early 2022, I bought a MIDI keyboard and a microphone, and I started producing my own music. And all of 2022, starting in like April, May, I released one original new song every single month on YouTube, which would eventually be the songs that would end up in my first album, Dreamer, which came out in 2023. I published my first single on Spotify, like on distribution, like officially in December of 2022. I published some more singles outside of the album in 2023. I partook in a music production workshop that lasted an entire year, all of 2023, and I learned a lot, and my songs definitely have improved since then, massively. You can hear the difference between the Dreamer album and the singles that I released in that year, which were I Run and Retrophobia. In 2023, I also, for the first time, seriously started taking vocal lessons, and I took them for most of 2023 and almost all of 2024. Changed my life. I took my vocal lessons online with a teacher from Vox Tape Studios. Fantastic. They're really expensive, and that's the reason why I'm not currently doing vocal lessons, but really, really good teachers. I really started following this path and really enjoying this path. And in 2024, I released my first EP. I got featured in a newspaper. 2025, so this year, I had my first radio play. I released my second EP called Lover. I almost forgot what it's called, even though it's only been a few months. I have started releasing more intricate music videos this year. I have released a lot of new singles. I feel like every year I level up my production and mixing game a little bit, so people can really follow my music journey. I am a singer now. Do I earn my living through it? No, not yet. I do earn some money through it, but I don't earn a living through it. I look forward to the day when that happens. I still have a long way to go. I practice singing on my own now. I have almost 2 years of vocal training to build on, so I know kind of where I'm going and I know what to listen out for. I keep releasing new music. Another thing that I want to tackle this year and next year is performance. That's very important, and that's something that's not as easy where I live. I live in a city, but it's a small city that doesn't have a lot of opportunities for smaller artists. But I've come a long way. I've come a long way from that suppressed girl who just wanted to be liked and loved and hid herself and all the things that really made her special, because people kept telling her that she couldn't be who she was. I just wanted to be accepted. But at some point it came to a point where I want to accept myself more than I want others to accept me. If they can't love me for who I am, then I have to love myself more. I have to love myself first and foremost, and if they don't love me as who I really am, then they never actually really loved me. My relationship ended in sometime towards the end of 2020. We just were heading in very different directions. It's fine. I got together with this guy when I was 19. Prefrontal cortex, yeah, was not fully cooked yet. My priority, honestly, since 2020 has been music. This is where my heart lies. Singing, making music, writing songs. This is where my heart lies. And I have a feeling that this is just where my heart will always lie. This will always be the most important thing in my life, because it has been since I was 5 years old. Music was my refuge when my dad passed away when I was 12. Music has been my refuge and the place where I can express my emotions all my life, in a family where that was not always possible. Music matters most. As long as I can make music, I will still be me. And I will have something to look forward to every single day. That got a little more emotional than I expected. If anything, this should be your sign to follow your dreams. Is it hard? Yes. Yes. Do I still enjoy almost every single second of it? Yes. Yes, I do. Do I sometimes wish I would get more streams, more followers, more opportunities? Because I am working quite hard for all of that. Yes. Yes, I do. Will it all come in time and with perseverance? Yes. I have come a long way. I have a long way to go. This is my life's journey. I will never stop walking the path of music. So I will forever have something to tackle and something to improve on. And that's beautiful, because there is no end. There is no end. Music just continues on. Thanks for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you again soon with another video. HSV.